Hello, everything, let me check. Okay, good. Everything is up. So tonight I'm going to be painting the sculpture that I started last week. I apologize, it's a little later than I usually do, but I don't think anyone was waiting. I double checked. Nobody was waiting, so it should be irrelevant. But yeah, so we're going to be finishing this painting up. But yeah, I was very tired, so I wanted to take a nap before I tried to do this. We're going to be painting our little Carbunclo, which I realized I was saying slightly incorrectly the entire stream last time. I did correct myself in the little short video, but the accent should be not on the Carbunclo, but Carbunclo because it's Spanish, so second to last syllable. So I'm pretty sure I was saying that wrong the whole time. I don't know why I said it wrong the whole time because I know better, but I did. So anyway, I did pick up on that and I'll try to fix that. For some reason I want to say it incorrectly. As you can tell, I've already done I was cleaning up the eyes and the gemstone here. I've already done a very basic base coat of brown that took a while to dry, so we'll start off with that. The painting will not take too long because there isn't a whole lot that has to be done. But we're going to be layering some different shades of brown, and then we're going to also I'm going to have to double check, but I kind of want to do some different color tones for these, kind of like the color you would expect on mussels or clams. They're kind of almost a beige color with a little bit of black or a dark color on top. So I'll see how we're going to do those. I'm a little uncertain, but sorry. But we're going to start by layering different shades of brown. Now, some of this you will not be able to see too well on the video because the shades are very close in color. Oh, I like this brown. It's a very reddish brown. Someone got me paints today for Christmas, so I'm going to make use of them. They are very nice ones. So I usually buy the cheapest of the cheap. Now I did say last time I was going to look up the more specific. Oh good, you can't see that. You can see the difference. The more specific letter that my description is predominantly coming from, and I did. Now the entire thing is in Spanish, as is to be expected. I did not fully trust my Spanish skills, so I did pull up a translator thing to see if I was reading it correctly. It really doesn't add too much information that I didn't already say last time. So the story was basically that there was a garrison of soldiers posted in South America, Spanish soldiers, and they on multiple occasions saw this moving light at nighttime. Or I think they described it as a torch or a light. And one of them, I think, got close enough and realized it was a small animal that appeared to have a glowing thing shoved in its forehead. That it was able to, it had it lidded, so it was able to close it, which is why I did the design like this, so it looks almost like a third eye. So they saw it come in and out of a certain cave multiple times, and one of the soldiers saw it come out of the cave and was close enough that he basically threw himself on it to capture it, because apparently it was a fast little thing. It bit him, which that was not included. The Wikipedia article didn't mention that, but I found that in the letter. It bit him, and he kind of wrangled it, caught it. I think he tied the legs together and kept this little creature, and he described it, which is where we're getting most of our description, as a small brown weasel-like creature with a bushy tail that reminded him a little bit of a squirrel, but not quite. And it had a lidded, glowing gemstone in its forehead, according to him. They kept it for, I think, 2 days, and it wouldn't eat, so they killed it. I don't know why you would kill something that quickly after you found such an unusual creature, but apparently that's what they said they did. And this was written as part of a letter back to, I think it was back to Spain, but they were recounting stuff that they found. And afterwards, and this is the part that was more interesting. So after catching this little creature, it wouldn't eat, so they killed the thing, and which seems really stupid to me, instead of trying to find other stuff that it might eat or something else. But anyway, they killed it. He kept the skull and the head that had the gemstone in it. And according to them, they had like an exiled lapidary who refused to value the gemstone because he'd never seen anything like it before. It was supposed to be really beautiful and brilliant. It was glowing and it was almost luminous. And the soldier apparently was working for a particular marquis. Let me double check the letter here. And he was talking about taking it back to him in hopes that he would basically give him a nice little legacy or sum of money that he could live out his days on with this magical, amazing gem that he has found in the skull of a creature. But I pressed the wrong button. Let me see if I can just find it in the Spanish version here. No, not there. Yes, the Marqués de Teba. Let's see. Yes, he said that he wanted to give it to the Marquis of Teba, who was his... I'm not sure what that word means. Hold on. Messiah. I think it was translated like patron or something in the English version. And he was waiting for to give it to him. But then apparently someone else offered him, let's see, si quiere 300, yeah, 300 doubloons. Someone offered him 300 doubloons later on. But here, let me pull up the translator one to make sure I'm reading that correctly. I do not have confidence in my Spanish skills. I was able to read some of it pretty easily, but there's others that I'm like, I don't know that word. I speak Spanish like a toddler. Okay. Thankfully, auto-translators are actually decent with Spanish to English. Alright. Yes, he was hoping that the Marquis would allocate him funds to live comfortably. No one gave him a promised price for it, but the French consul secretly sent word to ask if he would take 300 doubloons vate for it. And the funny part is the letter that was sent back that includes this account includes the note that, okay, this news is true and has many witnesses as there are many individuals in this garrison. Or something along those lines. Let me look at the Spanish word. Yes. Yes, this news is certain it's true and has many witnesses. So, I'm curious because there's different accounts of carbunclos and their different designs. They're always so vastly different. Every version I saw, made them very different. This, I think, is one of the more descriptive, so it's why I brought most of my artistic design from that. But, whereas some of the earlier ones, it's like, oh, we just saw the shining light and we think it's a small creature. We didn't really see it. But, like, this thing could be a clam. It could be a small turtle-like thing. They just glow and have gemstones embedded in them. But I do find it funny that they're like, oh, and the French consul contacted him in secret to ask him this question. But my question is, how did the French consul know about it? I mean, I guess there might have been one there, but I don't know. And also, if it was in secret, why does the whole garrison know it? But I always wonder how accurate it is. What did they find? Who wrote this letter exactly? I didn't get a chance to look up the more specific history of it. But it's always that question of like, if they were telling the truth, then what actually did they find, Because that's so unusual. I suppose an animal could actually have something embedded in its head. That is something that could happen. But the whole story of it being so intensely valuable that this ex-lapidary wouldn't value it for him and nobody would give him a price because they have no idea what it is because it's so wondrous. That seems a bit far-fetched to me. And that's why I'm wondering, if someone did write this and say they did make it up, what was the intent? Why would you do that? Or if they didn't make it up, what exactly did they find? Or did they find something and then maybe just exaggerate a little bit? Because I find with a lot of mythology, that's often what happens. Or other common mythology, I feel like, is morally based. So like it's, oh, this evil monster will get you if you don't do something. Or this monster teaches you a lesson about greed. There's a lot of mythology like that. Now, I'm not an expert, so I'm just rambling about my own opinions on things. But I am curious because this one, it's always associated with money and wealth, but not in a moral way, really. Like, there is ritualistic things about if you do it incorrectly, you'll die and stuff, but the correct way isn't particularly kind either, so there's not really a moral obligation thing that I see, at least, when I was reading it. Which I could be reading that incorrectly. But, yeah, I often wonder, what actually did they see? And if they were making up, why would you? There's so many unanswered questions when you have multiple accounts of a creature being seen. But it does raise the question of, like, how many animals have had small objects somehow lodged or embedded into their skulls? Because you could. Now, the only weird thing is that he mentions specifically in the letter that it had a hooded cap or lid that they had to pry open, like, basically like an eye. Or a piece of skin that they had to pry back. Which kind of sounded like they might have been hurting the poor little thing, but... even if an animal actually had something embedded in its forehead, it wouldn't be like that. I wouldn't think. That's why I love reading these, because they're fun to theorize about exactly what happened. What did they actually see? Why did they write the letter? The reason this one sounds more far-fetched to me is the whole, valuation of the gemstone being so wondrous that nobody was willing to do it, And the fact that they have to, I mean, maybe that was a normal ending for a letter or an account, but the fact that they had to end the account with, and this is true and lots of people saw it. I mean, I guess it does make sense. If you saw something highly unusual, you would want to have that verification of, yes, this actually happened. But I don't know, for me, it always makes me go, did it really? But I'm a bit of a skeptic. Either way, it is very interesting. Especially since there are so many accounts of carbunclos. But most of those are from the distance. They're from a distance of like, oh, I saw this glowing thing along the ground, and somebody didn't get a good look at it, which could have 1,000,001 different explanations. I guess it does remind me a tiny bit of something I did before. I think it was called the Arkansana, which is like the little lucky hedgehog pig thing. Because that was a similar, if you caught it, it was supposed to, bring money and good luck. I guess in some sense that can almost stem just from wishful thinking and wanting to do well. But it is interesting when you read about different things from lore and mythology, how so many of them do have purposes in a sense. You think of the boogeyman, snatches children away, or the Sandman, or different figures who supposedly do certain things. They often have functions or lessons that they teach. or there's specific reasons why they developed. But the ones that fascinate me are the ones that don't really, well, I like those too a lot. But the ones that don't have that as much and are based more on accounts of like, oh, I saw this random weird thing that I couldn't explain. Because my brain always likes to find a logical explanation for everything. The problem is no one has yet, and because it's an old sighting, there's no way you can go back and actually know what it was that they saw and how honest they were being. He also said the gemstone, I think, was like diamond point, which I assume diamond shaped. I'm a little uncertain what that part meant. So I did rounded. And I know a lot of the modern portrayals in like video games and stuff of carbunclos are usually slightly rounded. But I'm not actually sure entirely. Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. Entirely what they meant by that. Alright, I think we've gotten a couple layers of brown on here. There we go. So we've gotten some layered colors of brown. We'll clean the eyes up again. I accidentally covered them over again. I'm curious to see how this paint does. I feel like it would be okay to use for the ears and some of the skin tone, but it might be a little too red. But I kind of want to have additional reddish tones because... Now let me use this one. Because of the gemstone being the way it is. So, weasels I think would normally have darker colored noses, but we're going to give it a little bit of a reddish, lighter skin tone rather than the darker one. Darker skin tone. So I think we'll do this color first, and then we'll move to a slightly lighter pink. I probably shouldn't have worn my hoodie. I'm going to get paint on the sleeves. And this is a new one. Okay. Yeah. And then I'll do a little bit around the eyelid as well. Because usually around the eyelids of animals you can see a little bit of their skin tone poking through. And I can't forget, we gotta do the little glowing tuft of fur under here. So I am gonna do that. I haven't forgotten. Okay. Alright, so that's for starters on that. We'll let that dry and then we'll go over it with a slightly lighter color so that it's not quite as orange, but I do like the orangey tone a bit. Well, let me think. We can go ahead and start doing the lighter color here. For the little skin tuft under its neck. This paint's starting to go bad. I need to replace a bunch of my paints and paintbrushes. So this one came from it being a couple of the descriptions saying that the Carbunclo was like a cat with a little tuft of fur that glowed in the dark under its neck. And then if you got, I think it also had a gemstone in its head, but if you got this little scruff of fur, you would get good luck and wealth all the time. It is weird to me how so many mythological creatures are like good luck charms, basically. Which I guess that makes sense, but yeah. I think I've talked about it before in some of the other videos. It always makes me sad that it'll be like, oh, we found this amazing creature, and we know it's like a good luck charm, so we just killed it. It's like the first reaction on so many of these. Because some mythological creatures are like dangerous things. Some are warnings. They're neutrals. They're signs, like the banshee or things like that. That were omens that would tell you things. And then some of them. Sorry. Some of them, it's like, oh, it's just a magical creature that has all these powers, and we kill it for all its powers constantly. Alright. I think I might actually go ahead and do the underside a slightly lighter color as well, because I think having that two-toned color looks nice. And then we'll just make the tuft of fur even lighter than the rest of it. Alright, let me use the bigger one here. Oh. Yeah. Too much. Too much paint. I have one painting skill, and it's called dry brushing. It's all I ever do. Well, it's not entirely true. But it's what I do on most of these. It does work so well, though, when you do textures on things like this. Okay, I'm gonna turn it around. Do this side. I have discovered that I almost definitely have winter allergies, and I don't like it. I've never had them before, at least, but they've slowly developed over time, and it's not fun. I mean, it's not as bad as I know some people who just suffer during the summer, and I don't have that, but it's just very annoying. I feel bad for the people who deal with stuff like this all the time. Okay. Now, where is my white paint? Oh, I have some new. I could just open the new. I'm curious how good this white paint is, because white is one of the paints I have a really tough time with. I feel like so many white paints just aren't very good. Now, I do have glow-in-the-dark paint, and we are going to use that on this, but I want to get the... That's going to be the last layer of color, if you will, so... I want to... Ugh. Here we go. All right. Add some lighter bits on the tail here, just to make it a little more interesting. A little bit on the shoulders and the toes. All right. I like doing this because it highlights all of the texture that we did earlier. It makes it easy to see. Okay. Now that we've done that, actually, bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna mute. Okay, there we go. I need to blow my nose, and I want to blow my nose into the microphone. All right. Let's see how this color looks over top of it. Give it a little bit of a more pinkish color. Okay. I think he's looking pretty cute. All right. Now let's see if we can do a little bit of this pinkish color around the eyelids. Just a little bit. And then we'll do the brown again. All right. Now let's clean up the eye. Well, not yet, actually. Let me do a little bit of my brown over those eye areas real quick. Then clean up the eyes a little bit. There we go. Now we can clean up the eyes. After this, I just order of operations. Do it correctly, that way we don't have to do it twice. I'm not always very smart, and I tend to forget the right way to do things. Okay. There we go. There we go. We will be done with him shortly because I just have to do the glow in the dark on his chin and then paint these shell pieces, and that shouldn't take too long. But yeah, I didn't think this one would take me too long because he's mostly one color, which makes it a lot simpler. But I do like him quite a bit. And I will, of course, be posting a shortened video. I will try to use the letter in detail. I gotta make sure I'm translating it correctly. But thankfully, the auto-translator type things are fairly accurate with English to Spanish. And I know enough that I should be able to tell if it's wrong. Although, again, my Spanish skills aren't that great. I know enough that I can get the gist of what's being said, but I don't always know. A bunch of the words were what I was going, I don't know this word. Like, I know it's like the subject or the direct object, but I don't know the word. So, I will double check myself on that, but I will have a shorter video, but it'll pretty much be what I went over in the live videos. Sorry. Alright. I do think we should do the pink again because it's a little uneven. At least on the nose and the ears. But I will clean. Yeah. I'll clean the eyes up here in a second. And here we go. You can see that a little better now. So yes, we will go over the pink here in a second, but for now, I want to grab my glowy paint. I might be able to show this on camera, we'll see. And we're gonna paint the scruff of the neck heavily with glow paint. Okay. Let me see if it's able to glow right now. A little bit, but not too much. So I'll get my UV light to show it off. And turn the lights off here and after we're done. Alright. Now we're going to do, I'm going to pull up, let's see, clamshells and see what they look like. Yeah, I thought this video would take about 40 minutes. So we're right around that time frame. Yeah, I'm thinking more of the ones that are associated with the larger oysters and mussels. They're like a dark color. Let me try oyster. Yeah, they're like a mix of a dark brown color and a light color. There's some multicolored though. I don't know how well I can pull this off. We'll see. So I think we'll start with... Let's start with the gray, actually, instead of a tan, since we have so much tan going on. Let's start with the gray, and then we'll do bits of black. There's cat hair on this brush. And then we can just dry brush some black, a little bits of brown. Looks like we have some lighter red tones. I'll just kind of mix it up. Try to mimic the appearance of like a shell. And we did the shell pattern, I explained last time, because sometimes this creature appears as a clam or a mussel or oyster that has treasure in it and glows underwater. So I was trying to, the best that I could, pay tribute to all the different descriptions of the Carbunclo. And that is why I added this element to it, just so that I could do a little bit of everything. Hold on. I'm gonna mute again for a second. Okay. Yeah, this white paint is actually pretty good. I'm happy with it. All right, so now the pink is dry here too, so we're going to let the gray dry a little bit, and we're going to touch up the pink that we just did. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of brown. On the edges. Not quite dry yet. So that should not be that color. So I'll use this. It's good. This is the more reddish brown that we were using earlier. Little patches of that and spots. And we will, we're going to go over it with the black color, so it's mostly going to be black. I just want to have some variations here. Let me look at my reference photo again. Oh. Okay, we can do... It's weirdly multicolored. I never really paid attention to how certain clamshells have so many little patches of different color. Whoops, that's too much. Like there's brown, there's little bits of yellowish tones. This is very hard to recreate. Don't know that this is going to quite look accurate, but sort of. Alright. And then almost a little bit of a greenish color. White in spots. I know it looks very strange right now, but I'm trying to pull it all together. If not, we'll just do basic with the black and we'll just do mild highlights, but trying to see if I can pull it off and make it actually look accurate. Hopefully I can stop sneezing. Okay, let's do some more of the glow-in-the-dark paint on the little tuft here. I should have anticipated this and brought my UV light up here, but I did not. So okay. I'm going to touch up the pink on the ears again. Just a little bit. Make sure that's nice and clear. All right. Okay, these are decently dry in the back. So let's pick a fresh brush. Oops. Yeah, we're kind of getting the shell, like clamshell mussel look to it. There we go. That's kind of looking like a clamshell a little bit. Not quite perfect, but I think it's enough that the effect is there. I wonder if I should go over it with one of my darker metallic paints just to give it a little bit more of a interesting look. Because right now, it looks like that, which is fine, but okay. All right. Yeah, let me do that. I will. Nope. All right. Oh, there's the cap right in front of me. Put that away. And let's get my gray metallic color here. And we'll just add some slightly metallic bits to this. Makes it a little bit shiny. Okay, let me clean up the eyes a little bit more. Alright, so this is the finished Carbunclo. We have the clamshell design on the back, or the oyster shell, whatever you want to call it. Weasel type body, bushy tail, brown, pink nose because it's cute, and then the gemstone at the top of its head. Now I am going to see if I can go grab my UV light. I will be right back. Where is this? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna shine the UV light on this quite a bit, see if I can get it to glow. I'm going to turn the lights off. As you can see, it now has a neck scruff that glows in the dark. Which I think that's pretty cool. That works well. Alright, let's turn the lights back on. Whoop! Oh wait, can you see it even better? Yeah, you can see it even better there. Anyway. Our little guy is finished. I think he's pretty cute. I'm very happy with him. If you watched this video, I do greatly appreciate it. Let me know if there's other things you'd like to see me sculpt. I will be doing the edited video hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. I have a lot of stuff I want to get done. But I'll try to get that done tomorrow, and I'm going to be trying to post a lot more smaller projects, little art things in between, just to kind of help boost their algorithm and hopefully give me more content that's fun to watch. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, if you see this video, thank you, and let me know what you'd like to see me do in the future. I do take suggestions. I've taken several recently. But yeah, let me know, and thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.